Greetings, everybody, and I'm going to do a bit of a movie review here, and it's just me. I watched it myself. When it's a movie that involves gore and maybe being a horror movie, I always watch it first and say, okay, so is this something Yvonne would find entertaining? And I don't know that I have an answer with this one, so I'm on the fence as to whether or not I think she'd have any interest in it. Now, when I saw there was a sequel to The Babysitter, it was Babysitter Killer Queen, I thought, how? And then in the trailer, so I'm not giving anything away, the trailer reveals, well, they're ghosts. And I thought, it's kind of lazy, but okay. Robbie Amel's still not wearing a shirt. That's funny. And when I get into the review, I'll talk about how I think you could go from here if you wanted to franchise this. I don't think they should, but they could. So, it, Babysitter Killer Queen is that sequel that we didn't know we needed. Having watched it, I don't know that we needed it either. I can understand why critics don't like it, but I can understand too why the general public is giving it mostly favorable reviews. More thumbs up than thumbs down, and I'm recommending it to people who like the first one because again, it doesn't take itself too seriously. So if you want to avoid spoilers, I will say I recommend it. Watch it on Netflix. It's a fun little movie, and it's not bad. It's not. I do not find it to be as tight as the first. I thought the first was a very well told story. I thought this one kind of went all over in places, but that's going to happen when you're trying to make a sequel to a movie that didn't feel like it needed a sequel. So if you're trying to avoid spoilers, go ahead and shut the video down now. Go watch it, and then come back and watch the rest of this review. Now, for the rest who are left behind, I trust you've either seen it or you don't care, or you're like, yeah, I don't care. I'll hear spoilers and I'll watch it anyways. So this movie has very, very little of Samara Weaving, who was the babysitter in the first one. So it feels like the Babysitter Killer Queen, right off the bat, the title is misleading. It's not a lie, and it's not like a clickbait title. Clickbait is when you see a title and you go, oh, what's that? You click on it, and what you get is completely different than what you clicked on. You're like, what? No, that's not what am I doing over here? So I don't qualify it as that because she is in it, but it's not until the end. Now, at the end of the first movie, Cole and well, C and B as they call each other, they do kind of make peace as she dies. And then to start this movie, they talk about how Cole drove his car into the house and no bodies were found. So B's just gone, and all the other dead bodies are just gone. And that's not really explained how there weren't bodies left behind. I thought this would be explained at some point in the movie, but it's not. And it's sort of a lazy way of making it so that and I don't like to say lazy because again, if you're told we want to do a sequel, hey, and if you guys could bring back the cast from the first one, as a writer you're going, I don't know, how the hell are we going to put them? I don't know, they're ghosts. Okay, but how does Cole, what do people think of Cole? I don't know. They think he's crazy because the body's disappeared. How? I don't know. I don't know. Just throw it in the script. We'll figure it out later. And then they just never came back and figured it out. Or they realized after writing it, there isn't really a logistical way to do this that makes any sense. So forget it. Now, in this movie, I thought that the actor playing Cole, you could tell he was older. The actors hit that growth spurt, and that's definitely happened with him. And then I thought that the actress that played Melanie was good in this as well. And then you get into the weird sub characters and the sub storyline of Cole, people thinking he's crazy, but that doesn't really go anywhere as like a big part of the storyline. It's just sort of off to the side that anybody who hears his story about a blood cult thinks he's crazy. And so the idea is still the same, that these ghosts now, in order to not be ghosts anymore and to live again, they need to drink the blood of the innocent combined with the blood of a sacrifice. And one of the sacrifice is somebody who's on their little sojourn where they go out to a lake, because you have to go to a lake because you got to get the Friday the 13th reference in there. So they go off to a lake. A beautiful lake, though. I will say beautiful lake that they shot this at. And then they had to have a cabin with a creepy cellar because Evil Dead. So you have that in there. And I thought that was okay. And then I don't know. From there, it becomes this. I don't know how to describe it. So they bring in this character, who she's the bad girl or whatever, and you can tell And this is an old movie trope, which is okay. So she's the bad girl with a heart of gold, and she's the outcast, but really she's the most decent human being in the school. And as soon as she came in, and they had her all dressed up, and I thought, yep, yeah, this is going to be that old fashioned. The one that looks like the good girl, his crush is going to be the bad one, and the other girl that looks like she's the bad girl, she's going to be great. And so they get out to this party at the lake, and everybody just disappears except the core characters, which I think is weird. I don't know where anybody else went, because they have this huge big party of like 100 people, and then like they get on this boat, and I mean other people would have wanted on the boat. Other people were like, I kind of want to get on that boat, but they didn't. We never see the partiers again. We never hear the party again. It's just okay, it's nighttime, we got to get home. That's not how teenagers party. That's not how that works. So they're on the boat, and then you have the reveal, and the reveal is I'm not going to say it's clumsy, but it's the exact same as it was in the first movie, which is okay. Here's a little spin the bottle kind of storyline they got going. Oh, whoops, and somebody's dead, and so it's similar to the way it was in the first movie. And then of course they have to get Cole's blood because he's innocent, he's a virgin. Ooh, here we go. And so Cole gets away because of the bad girl with the heart of gold. And yeah, it's basically a chase story from there. And then we lazily kill off all the same people. Some of it's fun. There's parts that I thought they could have done more with. For instance, the Phoebe, the name of the girl. Phoebe's the girl that Cole pairs up with, who you can tell right away that they're going to hook up. And so Phoebe runs off on her own, and she runs across a guy playing a banjo, and I thought, this is kind of on the nose. And he's waiting for his wife to come back, and I'm like, really? All that was missing was David Spade playing the character. That's all that was missing. But as soon as she sits down, and for a street smart girl, she's not very smart in that whole situation. And then he's all like, hey, looking kind of purty kind of thing, and it's just it's Deliverance. And of course, earlier in the movie, she mentions Deliverance as one of her favorite movies. So, I guess that's a callback. I don't know. But, they sit there, and then Cole just shows up and runs off with her, and they save him. But then Sonia, one of the ghosts, who's trying to kill them, because she's not thinking this through, that they need Cole alive for the sacrifice. There are numerous times in this movie where the ghosts are shooting at him, or they're trying to hit him with a flamethrower, and I'm thinking, if you kill him, this whole thing falls apart. You understand this, right? You're supposed to bring him in alive. You're as dumb as stormtroopers. But she firebombs the guy who was being all creepy with the banjo first, and I thought, this would have been a more interesting scene if they'd written it such that while the girl's being creeped on, the ghost of Sonya shows up, and she takes him out, and then Cole shows up. So to kind of tease this sort of like, okay, so they're evil, and they've made this deal with the devil, but there's still a morality here. And they're like, yeah, we can't get in with you. You're horrible. And so they kind of do that when she firebombs the guy. But I think it would have been better if you'd had the Sonya scene with Phoebe, and then Cole shows up. And then you have the showdown from there. I also was not aware that a surfboard would cut your head off. I had no idea that a surfboard was that sharp. Pretty sure they're not. But it was a cool death, and they do go for cool deaths. When Bella Thorne bites it in this movie, all I could think was there's a bunch of people with OnlyFans that are cheering this scene, and they're gonna queue it up and rewatch it again because they can't get paid this month. And you'd have to look that up to see what I'm talking about. But they're holding her, and it pulls her head off. And I thought, how much strength do they have? Because I thought they'd break her neck. I thought, okay, so they're both going to pull, and her neck's going to snap, and then she's just going to hang there. And they pulled her head off. How much strength do they have? Cole's like Superman or something. We just don't know. So, I mean, and Bella Thorne, I actually thought she had a better character in the first one than in this one. Sonya as well. I thought John, who's the black character in the movie, and of course, normally the whole horror movie thing is they die first, And in this one, he's actually the ghost that lives the longest of the core four ghosts. I liked him. I thought he was really entertaining. And Robbie Amell, uh, absolutely hilarious, shirtless the whole time, even in the flashback. So in this movie, they show flashbacks to when they made their deal with the devil through B, and I thought it was really funny that he's working behind a counter with a name tag on his chest because he's not wearing a shirt. And that might have been my favorite moment in the movie because I said out loud, "Why isn't he wearing a shirt?" And then the person in the diner talking to him says, "Why aren't you wearing a shirt?" It's really funny to think of a guy coming in and going, "Yeah, so all right, I want a job. No, I don't wear a shirt. No, I'm not going to do it. Nah." And so I kind of want to see, like I said, if you're going to do like some sort of offshoots, I would like to see a movie about his character. I would like to see a movie where he makes some kind of a deal with the devil that he gets to come back, but maybe he gets some kind of a deal to get out of hell, and he gets a deal where he might like think like way back uh Heavenly Kid. That's the one. Heavenly Kid. It's Heavenly Kid, right? Yeah, I think so. Where you have that, you're trying to get to heaven, you're in limbo, and so maybe you could have it like he's mentoring this kid and he's trying to get him on the right track, even though he has this, and maybe there's this bet between the devil and God. I don't know. You do something fun with his, because he's a fun character, and they don't do enough with him other than nut shots and him hooting and hollering. And I thought, and Robbie Amell, he's the one from the show Upload, which is a very good show. And I thought he was really funny in this. I just thought he was, every time he was on the screen, I thought he was really funny. Now, I mentioned Bee's not in it until the end. She does and again, it felt, I don't want to say lazy, but it felt like we can see this coming, that she's not going to be in line with the others, that she will take a different opinion and approach, and she didn't want to see Cole die, and she didn't want to see Phoebe die, because it turns out she was Phoebe's babysitter as well. And she has set this whole thing up. Where was she when they were getting a flamethrower fired in their direction? Where was she when all these ghosts were shooting at and trying to kill them? Because honestly, at the end, they're like, "Oh, B, you've been protecting us the whole time." And I'm like, I have questions. I have many questions. The rest of the movie, where was she for any of that? Because if these ghosts can come back, then B could too. But by keeping her separate from the others, it means that when she turns, I don't want to say it's more predictable, but it kind of sort of is. So when you see her coming out of the water and you're like, all right, so things are really dark here. Phoebe's, tied to a post, and Cole's already given blood, so something's going to happen here to bugger the whole thing up. And what I thought was funny was that the movie tells you, it just hits you over the head with the fact that Cole and Phoebe slept together. They did. And it tells you this flat out. And yet at the end of the movie, it sort of treats it like it's a big reveal that he's not so innocent anymore. And then B goes, "Do you want me to tell them?" And I'm thinking, okay, I have questions again. So could she see what they were doing? Can she tell that was she aware? What happened? How did, I don't, there's something to this that I go, can we just time out for a second here? So yeah, that was one of those things that I sort of found myself kind of having that reaction to. And then the other part that bothered me was that I did like the idea of Melanie and Phoebe having a fight, but when they treated it like it was Mortal Kombat, you can do fourth wall breaks, you can do goofy throwbacks that show B recruiting all these people to make a pact with the devil. You can't throw in a video game thing. I can't laugh my ass off at movies that have done video game bits before. House of the Dead, I See You. Was it The Island with Leonardo DiCaprio? See, my brain's just sort of trying to forget all about that. But there was a video game scene in that one movie, and I was like, and I'm laughing my ass off. I'm not supposed to be. This scene isn't supposed to be funny, but it's hilarious. And then Nightmare on Elm Street 5, you have Freddy, doing with the controller, and now I'm playing with power. And it's like, oh, and it's terrible. So when it was in this movie, I thought, I can't let it off the hook for this horribleness when I've complained about it in other movies. And so I'm not. But the movie in general holds up pretty well. It understands it's not serious subject matter. I think somebody on the writing staff understood we don't really have to have this movie. There isn't really a reason for this to exist other than Netflix wants to make some more money on it, get some more eyeballs on it. But I do think that at the end, they do kind of tease that this Book of the Devil. And right away I was like, that's a Book of the Dead. And if Samara Weaving, who was in Ash vs. Evil Dead, if this ends up tying into Evil Dead somehow, I'm down. I am 110% down for the idea that the Babysitter could exist in the Evil Dead universe. Makes total, complete sense. The gore in this movie was over the top. It was weird. There's a scene where the Robbie Amell's character, still shirtless, gets his face cut off by the blades of the engine on the boat. And I'm like, okay, so that's cool, but how did the blood splash up and hit Phoebe and Cole in the face when he's underneath the boat and it's under? Did they not? And there were a few scenes in this where there's blood spatter in the face of a character, and I'm like, that doesn't make any sense. Where did that come from? So, because in general, humans don't work that way. But I guess they watched Kill Bill and they went, that's a cool way for the human body to work. We don't care that it doesn't work that way. And so, copious amounts. And again, that's an Evil Dead thing. So if they do, that could be a good tie-in. I would love to see Ash dealing with Cole and Phoebe in some sort of a scene, or some Mia from Evil Dead, the 2013 remake, sure, or updated sequel, prequel, whatever you want to call it, the Evil Dead 2013 movie. I consider the 2013 Evil Dead to exist in the same universe. I consider it to be not really a sequel, but part of that whole Book of the Dead. You want to stay away from it, part of things. And I again, that's one of the best pure horror movies I've ever seen, is the Evil Dead. And I qualify it as like a soft reboot. As one of the best I've ever seen. This movie is not in that category. If I had to rate it out of 10, I'd probably give it a solid 7. Again, it's good. It's fun. I watched the first half yesterday, watched the second half today, and it's fun. It's mindless. And you kind of get what you expect with this movie. It's not like anybody's going to watch this and go, there's a lot of blood in it. I didn't expect that. Well, that seemed kind of silly. I had expected a very serious Oscar-level performance, both with directing and acting. This movie knows what it is. And I have to say, the young actors and actresses in this movie, great, good job, fantastic. I believe it's Jenny Ortega, which played Phoebe. Very bright future for her. She reminds me of Vanessa Hudgens. Just physically, she looks a lot like Vanessa Hudgens. I thought, too, the one that played Melanie, Emily Lynn something or other, she looks a lot like Samara Weaving in certain scenes of this movie. And I was like, okay, why does she look like B here? And then when she's revealed to be evil, I'm like, yeah, it makes sense she'd look like B, since, they're sort of making a parallel between her and B's character in the first movie. So yeah, let me know what you guys thought if you watched it in the comment section below. Again, I do recommend it for people who haven't watched it, and I try to stay out of all the extreme specifics, because what's the fun of watching a horror movie if I tell you how everybody dies? I told you a couple, but not everybody. And death forms, and not necessarily who dies that way, so didn't even tell you how the bad guys are defeated at the end, just that I kind of saw it coming. But let me know your thoughts. Hit like and subscribe if you're browsing your way through. You just happened upon this video. Thank you guys so much for watching, for all your support. I will talk to you again soon.